Hello and welcome. We're here at Santa Monica Airport, and for this trip, we're going to go and take a spin over to the Hollywood sign, see if we can spot it. Not sure if you watched my first two videos. I went over to Catalina, came back, so hopefully you like some of them. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you're subscribed, and the channel will get a little bit more popular. And please do put stuff down in the comments. Just to let you know, these are not real world flying lessons by any means, but we do try to be quite similar to the real world. We have the lovely Microsoft Flight Simulator library here, which is very nice. You'll see the photo scenery is really great when you're up high. When you're down low, these rocks and trees and things are a little bit fake, but I guess you've figured that already if you've watched my first two videos. So here we are already pre-flighted, we're holding short runway 21, so there's no traffic in this, as it seemed to be a problem for my frame rates of recording the video. So let's get ready to take off. Yeah, we put all our lights on here and our landing lights are on. Okay, everything is checked, fuel checked. Everything should be in the green. Yes, everything's in the green. Okay, so let's taxi on to runway 21. We're going to depart. We'll go over the beach. We'll come back in the opposite direction and check out the Hollywood sign. So we're on runway 21, Santa Monica Airport. Okay, so let's give it full power and take off. So I already have my autopilot preset to 2,000 feet. The heading bug set on 2.1. Actually, I can't really set it exactly. For some reason, it jumps in units of 10. Okay, there's our rotational speed, so we can rotate. Up we go. So that's quite a nice view there. You can look out here. So the graphics are quite good. Said that before, I guess. It's funny that you know. Oh, we have a terrain alert there. That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny how it's. You can criticize it all you want, but it is pretty cool looking. Definitely. So now I'm going to put on my autopilot. It's already set up here. Autopilot is on, and let's see what happens just by pressing the autopilot button. Should continue climbing to 2,000 feet at 500 feet per minute, as you can see here on the PFD, which is big screen on the left. And keep an eye on our speed. I have noticed sometimes on this autopilot it changes the vertical speed setting and will stall on you, so that's unfortunate. There's Los Angeles, there's the beach. It looks really amazing. You can look out this side at it. It also looks pretty cool. And of course we can jump outside the plane to this outside view here where we have kind of a left and a right, which is really nice. Or we can look straight down. We can look behind us. So that's all pretty good. So now I'm going to turn around here. And I'm going to set my heading bug on the autopilot, which is going to turn us around. The ocean looks really, really nice. So I have here another screen. I have my task manager open stuff and just having a look. It says that my RTX 2070 is using about 82-83%. The CPUs don't seem to be a problem. None of the threads are bottlenecking. And my graphics card memory usage is just about full on 8 gigs. So definitely would be worth getting a graphics card that has more memory. I'm not sure if we want to go for a... I'm not sure 10 would really do it. I probably prefer to have 16 or something like that. Of course you can get a really high number if you buy the 3090, but that's just a crazy price, to be honest, for something that's going to be outdated in a year. So here we have the freeway. Is that the freeway? I guess it's the freeway. And Santa Monica Airport is right there. So Griffith Park Observatory is almost straight in front of us, and right beside that is the Hollywood sign. So you can see, if you look down runway 3 and you actually point it straight down to the end of it, the first hill that you come upon is this, of the hills that are closest to us, it's the largest one. And I believe that's where the Hollywood sign is. So hang on one second, I can do this. I have a new stream deck which I'm trying to figure out. So I'm just going to change what I think is the engine volume down to 10, which should make the engine a little bit quieter. 10% here it says. So yeah, those graphics are really nice. So you probably could identify your house if it's one of those down there. Maybe recognize it by your swimming pool or something like that. Again, we're only at 2,000 feet, so you will see that it's a tiny bit jumpy, and of course, as you increase in altitude, that smoothens out. So I did fly over, or well, close enough to the Hollywood sign. You're not actually allowed to go that close to it in the real world. You can in the simulator, which is great. And I flew also over the Queen Mary ship, which is really cool. We actually stayed on it one time, which was really nice. It's very nice, very historic. Of course, first class luxury in the old days is something that if somebody booked it nowadays on booking.com as a normal hotel, they would definitely complain like crazy that the rooms are too small, the beds are too small, and the furniture's too old. But the beds were not that good actually. We had to swap the bed 2 or 3 times to find one that wasn't semi-cracked or broken. One thing they might like to do on that ship is replace all the beds, because getting a bed that's not broken is pretty much, hit or miss. It's the only thing really that should change, but I think their maintenance budget is probably not that high, judging by the condition of a lot of things in the ship. Had a nice tour of the engine rooms and everything. That was really cool. Such a shame that the British took out the engines before they gave it to the Americans over here in California to turn it into a museum. They were afraid for some crazy reason that if they left the engines in, the Americans might start using it as a cruise ship. Why you would use something that burns that amount of fuel in this day and age, of course, is ridiculous. But you can see where the engines were, and just such a pity they didn't leave them in there. I guess they were also probably worth money for scrap material. So yeah, right here is the Hollywood sign. I don't know if you can see it yet, because my graphics card can't render it yet, so probably not. But Griffith Observatory, you can probably figure out there right in front of us. Yeah, just maybe 5 or 6 degrees off to the left, which is really nice. So let me bring my altitude up here. Let me go up another 500 feet. Jump back into the airplane, see what's going on. But I have here also, of course, the real sim gear G1000 that I bought myself as a present. And I went over to the States and I did my IFR training, and yeah, I passed it. I had a really good school, really good trainers, and gave myself a reward then of this G1000, which is really cool because I have it here in front of me, and then on the screen in front of me, I don't necessarily need to see the instruments on the screen that you're seeing. So when I'm flying myself, of course, I'm not making a video, I will change the view so that I'm kind of just looking out over the top, and I don't need to see them at all. But obviously, for the video, you can't see what equipment I'm using back here, so therefore I leave it on the front. Okay, there's Griffith Observatory, if I remember correctly, on the left. So yeah, let's turn off this. off this autopilot now, and I'm going to bring you down a bit closer. So, of course, you're not allowed to do this in the real world. And to the left of Griffith Observatory is the Hollywood sign, just in case you're trying to figure out where it is right now. Okay. So, let's just turn around here and we can pass over Griffith Observatory. Those mountains up there in front of us are quite high, actually. So I did fly over to Mojave from here one day, and yeah, you have to climb quite a bit to get over those mountains, and then descend quite a bit on the other side. Which I'm kind of laughing there because I was approaching Mojave a little bit high when I did it the first time. So there's Griffith Observatory. It looks quite nice. So I could jump out and have a look. I'm not sure if you want me to do that. Do you want me to do that? I don't know. You know, subscribe to my channel, add some comments. There's the Hollywood sign in front of us. So I'm going to hit this active pause here for a second. Why not? Why not? Because we can do this. We can do this and have some fun. We can jump out in our drone, and our drone can go down and forward and all different directions. There's a bit of a compromise, of course, on your drone speed. So if you make it really fast, then people can get a bit dizzy watching the jittery footage. You make it a bit slow, and it does take quite a while to zoom into places. And of course, you have somebody like me who is not quite a gamer. I did use some computer games when I was very young. Yeah, they came on cassette tapes, and I put them into my Amstrad 464. And you know, a few years later, I managed to get an Amstrad. What was it, a 6128 or something? It had a floppy disk drive. Oh my God. Instead of spending half an hour loading one game, and you know, very often 80% of the way through, it would fail. And then you'd start again. So it was quite a big job. Now you just turn things on and wait for them to load instantly. And people are saying, oh, Microsoft Flight Simulator takes so long to load. Wow. Go back to the days when I played Spitfire 40 and it took me like an hour to get set up. So Griffith Observatory looks really cool. I was never actually here on the ground, so I must go there someday. At least now I know where the car park is and how to get out there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and I don't know, from here, can you see the Hollywood sign? Yeah, one would assume that you can. Can you see it now? I'm trying to put it, there it is up there. So the Hollywood sign is right up there. You can see it. We're going to have to fly really close to it for it to render properly. So let's do that then. Let's jump back into the airplane and we'll unpause it. And we just keep flying at the Hollywood sign basically and see when it renders. So I've seen people who are like, you know, flying around in a simulator. They're looking for a Hollywood sign. They can't find it. Yeah, you're not going to see it from very far away. You have to be up close. So I guess if you're a local and a resident here, of course, you know the roads, the hills, and everything. So you know exactly where it is. And in real life, of course, you're not allowed to get this close to it for sure. So here it comes. It is rendering and rendering, and you know what? Yeah. That's it, guys. I pause it there for a split second. That is the Hollywood sign. I jump out here and I've lost my drone. There must be a button somewhere. You know, drone home or something like that. I think my drone is actually, oh, my drone is still out here. He's okay. My drone hasn't finished doing his own tour. Somebody's obviously hacked into my drone and is using it to take pictures. But that's the Hollywood sign. It looks pretty good. And yeah, it is there in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You just have to be pretty close to it to see it. So I might use one of these actually here. Can I go? Can I find a good angle to take a nice picture? Is that a nice angle for a picture there? Maybe. Yeah, or maybe this one is better. Yeah. Let's see. There we go. I think that could be my thumbnail for this video. Okay, so now we should do some maneuvering over here. Yeah, it can be a surprise. When you pause and you're out and you're flying your drone with your Xbox controller and then suddenly you need to jump back in. All that water looks fantastic there. I could almost jump in and go for a swim. Wow, that looks really, really nice. So now we're going to do our return to... and the trim is up there quite high for some reason. Good. I have noticed that when you do hit the active pause button, certain things in the airplane can change slightly. And then when you come back to the plane and unpause it, can take a little bit of readjustment. Maybe that's just what happens to me, I'm not sure. Okay, so all our lights are on, landing lights are on, nav lights, strobe lights, all of that is on, which of course we can look outside to see. The landing lights are kind of like a candle. Yeah, and what would be really nice now, I don't know, in this view maybe I can turn them on and off, can I? Ah, they are off. There's the taxi lights, on, off. Landing lights on, off. Okay, that's pretty good. And nav lights off, nav lights on, strobe lights off, strobes back on. Okay, that's pretty good. So it just seems to be when you go out into the drone mode. And one thing I did have to do in the simulator is, and I probably still have to go through the whole lot, but I went into the Xbox controller settings for the drone, and I just, you know, apart from moving the camera, all the buttons have functions for moving the airplane, so I tried to basically get rid of every one of those. Otherwise, you're outside in drone mode, you hit a button and your plane just turns over or something, which is quite interesting. A bit like that time that I was flying down by Christ the Redeemer in a storm. I gotta find those video clips and put them together someday. Although it was just me testing, so it's not really a well put together video. But it's it's quite interesting. Every time I turned on the autopilot, the plane just tried to kill me. And of course, you know, I never ever try to figure out what the autopilot is doing. If it does something that you don't like, yeah. If it does something that's unexpected, turn it off. Fly the airplane and then check all of your electronics and check everything, and then when you feel comfortable with everything, turn it on again. But you know, don't be sitting there in the airplane trying to play with the autopilot and figure out what's going on while the airplane is getting out of control. That's never a good thing to do. There we go, there's Santa Monica in front of us. So yeah, I think we can do kind of a straight in approach. Let's jump back into the cockpit. Makes it a bit easier to fly. And okay, so I'm under 100 knots. I can add 1 notch of flaps. That'll help me to keep the nose down a little bit so I can see a bit better. Okay, mixture full. Feels good. And bring my power down now because I'm fairly high out here, alright. Put out a 2nd notch of flaps there. Reduce my power all the way down. And of course, you'll be turning on carb heat right now if you had an antique aeroplane that has a carburetor, which you can find plenty of actually these days. So this Bravo throttle quadrant here is very, very nice. I'm going to have to get another camera and just put it on so you can see what I'm doing with the controls. So now we have full flaps out and our power is right down. And we should be trying to get our speed here around 65. So we're quite high. We're doing a very steep approach here. In fact, we are so steep we may have to do a slip. So if you're going to do a slip, I guess first of all we notice that the wind, no wind data. Okay, that's not helping me. Okay, wind is from my right. So we're gonna put the airplane over to the right, keep the rudder out, and we're gonna like do a slip. So yeah, it has interesting kind of. It's not exactly how I'd expect it to go. There we go. That's a bit better, is it? Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit better slip. So of course we want to be way set up way better than this. What's that down there in the middle? Okay. A windsocket is blowing it around like crazy there, actually. Yeah. So we have a pretty strong headwind, and we're going to land down on the other end of the runway, which is, of course, not something we would normally do. So watch, my speed there is getting a bit low, and I'm still a bit high. Here we go. Okay. And we are down. Back to my new favorite parking space down this end of the runway. So everything's good out there. Okay, can't really see much. Gonna bring that up. Okay. And let's see if we can exit a little bit closer on this yellow line this time. So yeah, in the simulator I have a habit of taxiing a little bit faster than you would in the real world, because otherwise it can be a little bit boring, I guess. So here we are, clear of the runway. We talk to our ground controllers, find our parking spot. So we turn off the landing lights, turn on the taxi lights. Of course, there's a whole checklist that you should be going through once you land, after landing checklist and all that. But here we are, right back to our spot. So, and of course, we're going to turn off the avionics, knock off all the lights except for the beacon light. And once I pull the power back, this annoying window is going to pop up. Yes, annoying window has popped back up. So that took us 19.5 minutes. Good. So I hope you enjoyed that flight. A quick tour of the Hollywood sign and the observatory. And we're back here again in Santa Monica. Next flight out of Santa Monica might be to... Actually, there was that lady who built a house using a 747 wings and other parts of the 747, which is on my... I guess on my 2 or 3 o'clock from here, is it? Oh, I can't remember. We found it one day. I'm going to look that up and see if I can do a flight over that, if it exists and if it's worth it. So, yep, tune in, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. Again, it's not real world video or real world flying. It's a little bit of a combination of simulator flying and based on real world flying, loosely. Okay, take care, subscribe, see you for the next one. Bye.